Hi everyone, welcome to another round of Chitter Chatter. Today we are going to have chit chat with the author of Kaikeyi. He has written this book on Kaikeyi from Ramayana, the warrior queen of Koshala. And if you like mythology, then this is a book which is specially for you. And trust me, you're going to enjoy it and have fun reading it. Because she's somebody who's actually lost in the Ramayana. We all hate her. But trust me, when you read this book, you won't be any more biased and you will not hate her. And to know much more about the book, let's get chatted with the author Jai Shukla. So let's send him a request and let's have some chitter chatter. Everyone, welcome to this chitter chatter and always coming in and supporting our chit chat, sending in your questions and always motivating me to have chit chats with a lot more people. Hello sir, welcome to chitter chatter.
Thank you. Thank you.
Firstly, sir, congratulations on your book. And I must say that, it is so good to write on a queen who's actually lost in our mythological world. So thank you for
Yes.
writing this book.
Madam, actually, this is the first attempt in that direction. I have selected too many women characters from Ramayana and Mahabharata, which have been ignored actually. So my emphasis will be on the women, not on the men. And stories of women coming from men, I think you will have a special way of reading it. My respect for the women, whether it's my wife or my daughter or people like you who are doing excellent in their own fields, that will show in the book. It reflects in the book that way.
So, sir, when we start reading the book, I realized that you used to love to watch Ram Leela as a kid. And when you used to go to watch Ram Leela, did you ever think that you're going to write a book on the characters from the Ramayana ever?
No, not that time. But it's actually come off late. Earlier, people used to write different ways of Ramayana. Like Radhesham Ramayana has come, Tulsi Ramayana has come. There are hundreds of Ramayans. And you see, there are many Kathavachaks who are doing Ramayana regularly. Many interpretations, many things coming. But this is a different way. When I deal with the women character only, to see them in a very, very new light. If you see, I'll tell you, many people who are not aware very much of the Ramayana and they know only superficially of it. They know Ram and Sita. But do you know Sita has done nothing in the Ramayana?
True.
If you take that point out, that she is incarnation of Lakshmi. She is a passive character actually, only passive character, not active. Whenever you talk of Sita, Ram married Sita actually.
Yes.
Not Sita married, not other way. Ravan kidnapped Sita. So everywhere you will find that subject will never be Sita. It's always the other way around. But if you talk about Kaikeyi, for example, she is a different character. She is active. She has done something that has brought a big change in the narrative of the Ramayana.
I think
In my opinion, actually, yes.
I realized that if it wasn't for her, actually Ramayana wouldn't happen.
Yes. Actually, Kaikeyi was the one who made Ram the god. There are many characters in Ramayana. They didn't do much for Ram as Kaikeyi did. See, there were many kings like Aj, like Harishchandra, like Ikshvaku. They all became great kings. They remain in Ayodhya. Maybe Chakravarti Samrats, but they never became God. Kaikeyi was the one who brought him out of Ayodhya, out of Mithila, and out of Koshala, and she took him to south. And with the help of, actually, my concept in this book is that Ram went to south, and all these people, these Vanaras and Rikshas, they are all human beings. They are tribals.
Yeah.
So he has taken these tribals along, created a force out of that, and then he has unified India, that we call Akhand Bharat. So that is my idea of Kaikeyi and many more women, which afterwards I'll be telling you how it is.
So while you have mentioned to us a little that you will be writing about many more women who have been a part of Ramayana but have been lost in the mythological world, Who is the
Yes.
very one you're thinking of writing about?
One more thing I'll tell you. There are two very important events in the Ramayana that have changed the entire character of Ramayana. One
Ji.
is asking of boon by Kaikeyi. That is first. Otherwise, Ram would have remained in Ayodhya, as I told you. Second one is Shurpanakha.
Ji. Yeah.
If he has not come, not asked Ram to marry her, and had Ram not mutilated her ears and nose, then Raman would have not come. He would have not abducted Sita, and things would have been different. Already, Ram has passed around 12 years in jungle, 12 years living in Chitrakoot. Another 2 years, and it's okay. He would come back after 14 years and become a king. But then Shupnakha brought that trigger. That trigger came from Shupnakha. She went to him, and then things changed. Then Sita abducted and Ravan killed and all those things. So these two events, and these ladies are least written about. You won't find a book about Shupnakha. And can you tell me why Ram cut her nose and ears? What was the logic? She has come. She has expressed her love to you. She wanted
True.
to marry you. You say, okay, no, sorry, I won't do that. But then you say, go to Lakshman. You say, I am married, go to Lakshman. But Lakshman is also married. So you are playing with a woman who has come with a request of love to you, and then you mutilate them. So it may sound against our religious cult and all that. People may feel I am talking about something absurd. But the fact is, if you see from the angle of Shupnakha, or a woman, if you from that woman's angle, if you see, you will see that no, what Ram did was, I think, wrong. There's no justification, even in Ramayana, whether it's Valmiki or it's Tulsi, there is no justification for Ram doing that.
Like they always say, there are different versions of a story. There is a truth that happened, but there are different point of views and different versions. And that is what it is. Like, like you said now, if these two women were not there, Ramayana would never happen. Like, Ramayana
Yes,
happened these two. And these two are known as, unfortunately, the evil ladies of
yes,
Ramayana.
yes.
A major section of ladies also very rarely look at them in a different light or even ponder upon ki why they did what they did. And you actually took the courage, like you said, a lot of religious people will not take it in the right light, but you
Yes.
still, your debut book, you took the courage to write a story of a woman out there who's actually lost, and because of whom Ramayana would never happen. Like Supranakha is still later,
Yes,
she.
yes.
But when you decided to take this courage, what was your thought process? What all you went through? Like, you must have had people who would have said, why do you want to do your debut book on her? And, many more things. So tell us about that.
Ma'am, actually, this character of Kaikeyi, Tulsi Ramayana, there are very few lines. Nothing is written what happened before the marriage to Dashrath. In Valmiki Ramayana, it is in little detail, but not too many details. But we all know that she went to battle, Dev and Asur battle with Dashrath, and then she put her hand when the wheel was coming out, and then Dashrath asked her to ask for the two boons. But practically, if you see, why a woman will ride a chariot going to a battle? And that also such a fierce battle where on one side there are Asuras, the other side Indra and Dashrath are there. So it takes courage for a woman to go to a battle in the chariot. And if she is not an expert, mind it, she will never go. So Kaikeyi didn't go there just to watch the battle. Nobody goes in a battle to watch it actually. So she went for charioteer. She was an expert archer. So she has gone to fight the war, not to see the war. She was not sitting somebody in stadium and watching a fight. So that way, that story has to come out.
True.
That she was a brave lady. She knew how to fight. She went with Dashrath. She fought the war, and then only she got two Vardhans. And in the background, there is another story. that when Dashrath asked for her hand from her father Ashwapati, then he promised that her son will be the next crown prince of Ayodhya. But then very, very nicely, he has put that on back burner. He didn't even think of it, and simply he has made Ram the crown prince. So if you promise something to a lady, to a woman, and you back out, how is that?
And that like was your major vow before
Yes,
marriage. Like that
yes,
was
yes, yes.
so it's actually cheating.
How long that marriage is going to last? If you cheat your wife on a promise that you have made before the marriage, and that was the precondition. So I have taken up that Kaikai was not wrong, even if she asked for for this crown for her son. Even in that case, she was not wrong. But it was a different case altogether. She was approached by the sages, and who told, "Okay, you come with us, and we will make Ram a god, because the personality of Ram is such that he should not be limited to Ayodhya.
Yes.
He should come out of Ayodhya, and he should represent the entire world." In that time, our world was only India and the neighboring countries. So they considered it, if you win that, then you are a world winner. That was the case.
When I read the book, I realized the amount of research that has gone in the book, because you have described amazingly every character. You have
Thank
described
you. Thank you.
how Keki was in her Maike, how Ayodhya is the Sasural, how the difference is there, like why amongst all the queens, she was somebody who could go with the chariot and fight a war, because it doesn't happen overnight. She was brought up with that kind of a mindset, and you very, very well express how she came from a different world, how she adjusted her, and every character, like from a sage to the characters. And obviously back then there were many characters, because a full kingdom you have established and both the sides. How much time did go in for this kind of a research?
It took a lot of time actually. It took almost more than 2 years, 2.5 years. Writing took only 6 months, but research took 2.5 years, because you have to do a lot of research, a lot of old books you have to see, and then something comes from imagination also. As you see, I told you one example, I'll repeat it, that she put her hand near the wheel, and that wheel didn't come out. But the common sense will tell you that this cannot be. So she
Yes.
has to be a warrior. She has to be a warrior. So that came from my imagination. Okay, I'll make her a warrior. In any book, actually, whether it's a novel, whether it's an epic, writer has to bring in his own idea. Broad story will be same, but he has to see between the lines, and that imagination actually makes him or her a writer. Even Tulsidas, who has written such a beautiful Ramcharit Manas, in the very beginning he has written Kvachitanya do api. Means he says Nana Purana Nigamagam Sammatam Yat. That means this book, it carries all the Vedas, all Upanishads, all Puranas, everything. But Kvachitanya to api. There is something else also. So this something else also is the creation of writer. And
Wow.
without that, a book cannot be written. That is important, actually.
Thank you, sir, for enlightening us with this Sanskrit shlok and explaining what it was. Truly means a lot on this chitter chatter, and I'm glad that I'm having this chit chat with you.
Thank you,
It,
ma'am. Thank you very much.
and there are viewers asking a lot of questions, but there's this one question that I would like to ask too. Do you expect backlash rewriting mythology like this?
Pardon?
Do you expect that a backlash would happen, rewriting a mythology like this?
At least not on this book. Because in this book, I have kept Ram as a god.
Yes.
So there won't be any backlash on this. Maybe when I write about Shupnakha, as I told you, then there could be a few people who may object to that. But Kaikai, I have put it in a very fair way, and there shouldn't be any actually. Absolutely.
So I must tell Shukla Agram that when Sir writes his second book and then we again have a chitter chatter, maybe you can ask this
Yes.
question again. Then he may have
Yes.
asked this. So did he get backlash on that or what was it?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
So sir, like you said, the research was too much and there is an imagination of a writer in everything. Was it at times, when you're so much in depth into writing something, you're practically living that world? As a writer, that, as a reader, we live that world when we are engrossed in a book. And as a writer, I'm sure even you were very engrossed doing the research, living that world. So was it at times that you were transported in that world of Kekri and her entire kingdom?
See, ma'am, actually, for me, writing a book is not about writing a fiction or writing a book or becoming a writer. I am 65, a retired person. I was in Air Force, so had that defense life. Then I was in bank, and then as bank executive, I did international banking. I was in London, I was in India. I do foreign exchange. I do every sort of things I did in bank also. After retirement, I was sitting at home and remembering God, you know. So when I went into this research, I have to read Purans, I have to read Vedas, I have to read various Ramayans. So all the time, say 18 hours in a day, you are with God.
Yes.
Again, because that is my favorite book, Tulsi's Ramayana. So I'll quote one chopai. Even you can remember that, or for any generation, for this is good. He says, "Bhav ku bhav anak alasahum, naam japat mangal disi dasahum." That means if you remember God by bhav means with faith, with shraddha. Kubhav means unknowingly. Anak means you are not happy with that. Alasahum means even in the sleeping. Whether you are in bed and if you are awake, you remember God. Naam japat mangal disi dasahum. If you remember that, if you do that, there will be good everywhere, good in all the 10 directions. It's not only for your own good, it's for the good of everybody. So if I read 18 hours, the name of the God at my age, actually, for me, it becomes a prayer of the God. I think of God, I write about God all the times. I am with the God. So this is my this word and that word. I am taking care of both at this age.
Wow. And on
And
this,
then
mother has come online, Dr. Neelam Peace, and she's somebody who has always introduced me to the bhakti world that you're talking about. And she is sending a namaste to you.
okay, man. One more thing, even Tulsidas, he says, don't simply accept what I have written. He says this Ramayana, it gives you Vijnana Bhakti Pradam. It doesn't give you only Bhakti. It gives you Vijnana Bhakti means analytical Bhakti. So you have to read, you have to analyze. And then only you believe it. Not simply that you recite it and you finish it. No. So that is my way of doing it.
And that I want to highlight for all our viewers here, because what we do is we always read, but it's very rarely in our fast world that we actually analyze and absorb what we are reading. So that is something, sir. Thank you for sharing again. And I would like to highlight. And here, while you were saying that, there were a lot of people sending a lot of love on what you recited.
Thank
Also,
you.
the
Thank you.
express every essence essentially with its complete aesthetic. Somebody's asking, what is your next project? Well, you joined in late. You can watch our interview on IGTV. Sir has already said what is he writing next, and we are going to have chitter chatter on that too. Himanshu TG2 says he wants to know about Keki Avatar because he's also researching on same. According to him, all Chiranjeevi gods get combined and a new avatar will come. Can please also tell us a little about Keki Avatar?
Now, Kalki Avatar, actually, this is only in imagination because it has not happened. There is a Puran, actually, Kalki Puran, where they give that how the Kalki Avatar will be there and that will happen in Kali Yuga. That is already, we are already in Kali Yuga after the death of Lord Krishna. So, nothing much can be sought. It is only, nothing much is written about this. And if he doing project, let him contact me. We'll research and I'll help him if he wants to. Because I have a lot of time to read and tell people if he wants.
Can't you teach? What more do you want? Sir has decided that he's ready to help you, so you can always DM Sir after a chitter chatter, and you couldn't have asked for any better. And maybe you'll both write this thing together, and we have a chitter chatter with the two of you together on this. So this is a very exciting note in my chat today. Also, sir, getting back to your book, how was it? How was the process working with book bakers when they got you to publish your book?
Actually, writing book is comparatively easy than getting a publisher.
Okay.
Yes, it is. So by chance, I have written to many agents, literary agencies and publishers. But only response I got was from Suhail. He's very cooperative, very helpful. And actually, he knows how these new authors are struggling, what difficulties they face. So he gives very good suggestions, he supports. And all my future projects also are with the book bakers and Suhail. He also give very good suggestion. He give you, he will suggest even topics to you that अभी इस पे किताब लिखना है यार बहुत अच्छा रहेगा हमने कहा okay that will be in queue actually.
Yeah, that is true. Suhail and the book bakers go out of their way when it comes to authors, and I think thanks to them we get so many new authors, and our literature is, they actually contribute a lot in their own way by promoting new authors, because like you said, writing is easier than getting it published.
I told him once that I don't have exact data, but if you try, maybe your name comes to Guinness Book of World Record for promoting new authors. For debut authors number, if you see, it may be around 1,000 or something. So no literary agent in the world must have given chance to so many new people as this Suhail has done. So let him try, and maybe he still continues. If not today, at least he will find his name there. I am sure of it.
Yeah, I second that completely, and I think I'm also going to tell Suhail, you are going to come in Guinness Book of Records, and I think I'm going to do chitter chatter with you on that. So yes, if not today, tomorrow, at the rate he's going, definitely that's.
Yes.
A question for you here: do you plan to write books apart from just mythology?
No, I told you I'm not writing a book actually. It is a spiritual journey for me. I don't know how many years are left for me. I am already 65. So whatever 5, 10 or 15 years I have. And in mythology, there is so much scope. You can write 10,000 books on mythology.
True.
And still stock will not exhaust. So I feel continuing with the mythology.
How is it working with Petals Publication?
They are good. Mr. Makkar is a very nice person. Very polite, very humble, and absolutely, I would wish to work with him again. Definitely, nice.
So we had a lot of chit chat about your book, Ekri, and I would tell all the viewers here, if you all have already read the book, then please put in the reviews. If you all have any more questions besides what I have asked, you can always DM Sir. And if you all also want any help in spirituality, or if you all are writing a book and on spiritual mythology, then you can always contact Sir. He would be of great help. But before we end our chitter chatter, I'm going to have a quick question answer round with you, a little fun just before we end.
Okay.
So, what is the favorite series of book that you've read lately?
Nothing actually, or maybe I'll call it Mahasamar by Narendra Kohli. It's a Mahabharati story in 8 volumes. Mahabharata is actually in 8 volumes by Gita Press, Gorakhpur. He has also written 8 volumes on Mahasamar. So I like that book by Narendra Kohli. He is a big writer and gives a lot of information.
Your favorite genre? Though we all know it, but we would like to hear it from you.
Mythology, of course.
You like ebooks or audiobooks?
I like brick and mortar. That is, unless I touch paper. My daughter, she goes for Kindle and all that. But I tell her, I'll read only books which are in paper, which I can read, which I can fold the corners and which I underline. So that is my idea of book. Old generation, of course, your generation is different. But in
No,
my generation,
I need books. I cannot. I am trying to get on Kindle so that I can carry along when I'm trying. But if you give me if a author tells me, do you want a Kindle version or paperback? I'm like, I'll wait. You send me the paperback. I don't want Kindle. I want my book.
yes.
Your favorite book of all time?
My favorite book of all time is Ramcharitmanas by Tulsidas. I think it's a big book, but almost each chopai I remember by heart. Even if in my sleep, if you ask, I'll start telling you any kand, any doha. From there you start and you go up to that. I can recite that anytime.
So one doha for our viewers here.
Already I told you 2 shlokas and 1 chopai.
So called.
Okay. Then it says, सतपंच चौपाई मनोहर जानि जो नर उर्धर दारुण अवज्ञा पंच जनित विकार श्री रघुपति हरे. Means even if you read 5 to 7 chaupais of Ramayana, satpanch, 7 or 5. Satpanch chaupai manohar jani jo nar urdhar. But not only knowing, jani is not enough. Urdhar. So, आपके दिल में भी होना चाहिए और आपको उसको जानना भी चाहिए. So, if it is in your heart and if you know about, so knowing even 5 to 7 chaupais is enough for Daruna Avagya Panch Janit Vikar Asir. Then Lord Ram will take all your problems, all your issues, he will take up. And Panch Janit means Vikaras are 5 Indriyas. जो 5 इंद्रियों से विकार होते हैं, he will take care of everything if you just read and by heart 5 to 7 chapters. That's it.
Thank you so much. Okay, how did you get into reading?
That's my parents actually, especially my mother. When I was reading, I think in class 4 or 5, she told me, okay, Hanuman Chalisa padho, without knowing what it is about, but Hanuman Chalisa, then Sundarkand. So it started with that. Then I didn't restrict myself to Sundarkand. Then I started reading the whole Ramayana, and every time I read it, I find some new meaning in it. So it's reading, and of course, my reading is not limited to Tulsi Ramayana or to mythology. I was in Air Force, so there was a lot of time, 7 to 1 duty and afternoon staff free. So I have read actually almost all bestseller American writers. Even today I also read. So reading is my habit, but for last 1 or 2 years, Suhail is not giving me any time to read anything else other than writing for him, doing research and writing for him. He has given me 2 new projects. I am working on that, and then he gives deadlines as these in multinationals they give to the managers. So I have to work on that.
I think I'm very soon going to connect with you on one more project and give you deadlines, because that's something I've always wanted to do on mythology, but I always left it on like backstep research wise. So I think after this Chitter Chatter, you might get a call from me soon, and you may get no more chance to read more besides research.
So, on suggestion of actually Suhail, I am writing about 20 women.
Wow.
Who have not been taken care in the literature so far. He told Shukla ji, ऐसी लाइए ढूंढ के जिनके विषय में कोई नहीं जानता हो. Okay, and not only कोई नहीं जानता हो, then you have to write 40 to 50 pages about each, at least. So that again has a lot of research. So I am working on that project right now. My another project is actually about Dwarka. Many people know what is Dwarka, that is Krishna's capital, but people do not know who has actually made that Dwarka. There also one very important women character I have brought up. People have forgotten. You know, Balram's wife Revati. It is her father's country actually. It was destroyed by Rakshasas.
Okay.
Then she went to Parashuram. She learned about weapons training. Then with the support of Balram, she has recaptured Dwarka, you know. Krishna was nowhere near when she has gone to fight these Panchajanya Rakshasas. It was only Revati and Balram who went, fought, and recaptured Dwarka. Though Krishna is Dwarkadish, but in capturing Dwarka, he doesn't play any role. Because Balram was not interested in being a king. थोड़ा मस्त टाइप का आदमी है ना, खाओ पियो मस्ती करो टाइप का. बलराम is that character actually. So he asked Krishna, okay, you take care of Dwarka, let me live freely, let me do the wrestling and my mace fighting, but I'm not interested in this Rajya. So it was sacrificed again by Revati. It was her father's kingdom. She has won it back, but then she happily gave it to her Devar, Krishna.
Wow.
So that is very important. Nobody remembers Revati. Everybody remembers. Nobody remembers Shubna Khan Kekai. Everybody remembers Ram and Sita.
Yeah, like right now while we are talking about Dwarka, so there are a lot of people here saying Jai Shri Krishna, Radha Radha, and Krishna is always my favorite. So I have all smiles when it comes to Krishna and Radha. So,
Actually, about if you give me 1 minute, I'll tell you. Radha is a character which is not found in mythology in earlier books.
yes,
It doesn't. See about Krishna, Srimad Bhagavad is the base granth on which everything is based.
yes,
Krishna's character. There is no mention of Radha. This Radha has been devised by Vallabhacharya and his Shishya, Surdas. He further brought. He has now people who believe in this love and romance and all that. So bring that factor from Vallabhacharya and Surdas that has moved on. And now people remember Radha and Krishna, whereas Radha is not mentioned anywhere. It is Rukmini, who was the first wife of Krishna, who is more important in Mahabharata as well as in Srimad.
yeah, that is there. That
Yes.
actually is like whenever I went to read about Radha and I wanted to read, I really didn't get anything much to read about Radha, though
Yes.
she fascinating.
Yes.
So, before our last question for today is what is the top 5 books or mythological books that you have read in this year?
Mythological books. Give me some time. Yeah. I told you I generally read books, and good books in English are not available. It's
Yeah.
only, I think, if I can name one, that is Kavita Kani is writing some good books, and that also she's writing about the women characters. Otherwise, in Hindi, there are very good books like Krishna Ki Atma Katha by Sharma, and then I told you about Narendra Kohli's book, Mahasamar. Then Vivekananda also, there is a series, there are 7-8 book series on Vivekananda. So all these books I keep reading, but I don't remember actually how many books I have read, how many are coming and how many are going. There is another book by Mr. Sawant. He has written about Karn. That is also a good book. And then about Draupadi and Karn, Devkoni book. That is English book. There are very few books, but I generally depend on Puranas. They are full of stories, and there is so much to read that you don't have time to read all these second-hand knowledge. Basically, I would call it second-hand knowledge, because if you need first-hand, you have to go to Vedas and Puranas and Upanishads. They are the base. They are extracting something from that. Even I do that. So, nothing.
So, my last question, which the viewers are asking here, and and there are a lot of people who are here who have said that they've read Kaiki book and they have loved it, and they're looking forward to many more books by you very soon. And one of the questions that I really want to ask you as my last question is, what is mythology for you?
Mythology is half truth, half story. Because you read in Puranas, that is also not 100% true. There are question marks to that, and then you fill those gaps, and then you create a story. That is mythology. Base should be same. You should not actually play with the base. See, in South there are Ramayans which say Sita was sister of Ram. So that is actually going too far. So for you, Sita is wife of Ram. Kaikeyi send Ram to forest. No question in that. You can't change that. But purpose of sending him to forest could be different, because he wanted Ram to become a god. Not that she wanted throne for her son. So purpose was far wide. So you can change that. But basic story should remain same. So mythology is half truth, what is written in Puranas, and half your own version. You mix it and make a story. That's mythology.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving your time for this chitter chatter. And on behalf of all my viewers and me, I really have to thank you, because it was really a great pleasure and we had a lot of enlightening moments while this chitter chatter. So thank you so much. And all viewers, if you have still not bought your copy, then buy your copy, read and review it on Goodreads, on Amazon, and all platforms, and do spread the word. Thank you, sir.
Thank
And
you. Thank you, Shweta. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.